Welcome to my YouTube channel Shankhanath. Today the subject we are going to discuss is what is being discussed on almost all TV channels and newspapers. The fight between Armenia and Azerbaijan is creating a new problem that people think that World War III is going to start from there. World War III, where lies the trigger, is going to be the subject today. When two or more world military powers get into a war and simultaneously many other countries join, thereby extending the conflict to the large part of the world, then we say it's a world war. Now, to know the possibility of a world war, we need to look at the conflict zones, or rather the flashpoints, and we have to see all over the world. When I see these flashpoints, I think that there are at least 5 to 6 such areas spread across all over the world which can be said to be the flashpoints. And we should be interested in this because 3 of them are in Asia itself. So let's go. The first one, that is Iran and Israel in the Gulf region. Iran and Israel are waging a low intensity war across the Middle East for very, very long now. Rather, Israel is fighting many countries in and around it, and Iran is the main player against them. Now, Iran supports all the population which are anti-Israel, which are in Lebanon, Syria and Gaza also. Israel in turn keeps striking on Iranian forces in that area. Israel diplomatically also works very silently, very discreetly to form an anti-Iranian coalition. Works, and that too silently, is very important for Israel because it has got many enemies around it. Now, suppose Iran thinks of developing its nuclear program or decides to fight with Saudi Arabia, it will definitely instigate Israel. And in Israel, in turn, will launch strikes on Iranian homeland, especially their nuclear generation stations, as there is full likelihood that Iran, if it develops its nuclear potential, then it will be used against Israel and nobody else. Now, this in turn will definitely affect the global oil supply. And if that happens, then the major players, that is US and Russia, will move in. However, is this conflict a new one? No, it is not. It has been on for long. So, in the present scenario of pandemic, I don't think Iran and Israel is a very serious conflict point. Let's move on to Turkey and US. Now, tensions have been grown past 1 year between US and Turkey, because firstly, US cleared the action against the US supported Kurds at the Syrian border. The Turkey started the action and US reversed the decision and didn't allow them to fight against the at the Syrian border against the Kurds. Now, thereafter, US even started threatening Ankara for sanctions. Now, President Erdogan had immense aspirations for Turkey. He's trying to be the leader for the Islamic nations, and his ambitions include nuclear ambitions too. These problems could push Washington and Ankara to the edge. And mind you, Russia is lurking around there. So if it finds a space to get in, then Russia will enter the scenario and then things may go bad. However, as of now, it doesn't appear to be a serious flashpoint. Let's move to Asia, the Korean Peninsula. Now, in Korean Peninsula, the US and North Korea started very well. However, it fizzled out, and now the reduction of tensions appears an impossibility. Due core problems of each country, their internal issues, domestic situations, and the tensions, that's why, are very high. Now, more so, US has got its elections, and the US will not be wanting to talk to them. And if they, North Koreans, try to develop their ICBM and nuclear arsenal, then the tensions will be much, much higher. However, till the elections are over and the government is formed in US, there is no likelihood of anything happening with Korean Peninsula. Now we move next to the Asian region of South China Sea. Now relations between US and China are at precariously down due to the pandemic. Even their commercial interests are getting troubled because of this activity. Trump, in his turn, is wanting to use this confrontation with China as an election issue. And that's why there is full likelihood that he may escalate it further. Now, President Xi's problem is something else. He is facing prospect of turmoil at home, in the Han heartland, as well as in Xinjiang. So chances for an economic and diplomatic escalations are very, very likely. And this then in turn will lead to military confrontation in South China or even East China Sea. But as of now, due to the commercial interest, this thing is at low key. So we can move further. Next we come to Pakistan and India. Pakistan is understood very well that it is no match. Whatsoever happens, it is just no match for Indian conventional power as such. So now it is trying to achieve parity through nuclear options. But even that has failed, which was shown by in Balakot. After abrogation of Article 370 in J&K, tensions have increased rather than decreasing, and proxy war or proxy conflict is on the increase. And as we speak, there has been problem at Pak border. Now, China grip over Pakistan is quite firm, and India in future and presently also, I can say, is moving closer and closer to US. Now this can create a trouble because two major powers, that is China with Pakistan and US with India, can create a serious international ripple effect. So we have to watch out for Pak and India. But as we said, Israel-Iran conflict, same way Pak and India conflict is going on for long. So immediate escalation, unless China instigates, is not possible and not likely. So we come down to the final one, that is China and India. In April-May, China amassed all its troops, in quite a number, in eastern Ladakh. Military diplomacy, diplomatic talks were started to resolve the crisis, however without much results. 15 June, Galwan incident, India gave a tough fight to the Chinese, which is important because Chinese never expected that India will come out so positively and give a tough fight. The critical situation has been handled by India very, very well, militarily and diplomatically. India has also hit China very badly on economic front by banning their products, cancelling their plenty of contracts. So China is pretty disturbed with all these happenings. And if it has to show the world power that it is the world power, then it will not allow India to overpower them. So crisis at China and India is an important aspect. And when we discuss all this, I feel Chinese point of view or Chinese flashpoint appears as of now to be the most important one for anything to happen which can inch towards World War III. Crisis at any flashpoint for that matter, that is Pakistan, China, India, Israel, Iran, Turkey, US, Russia, anywhere can escalate to full-fledged war. But one should understand, because of this pandemic and the worst economic situation everywhere in the world, there is a reluctancy now to wage a war, full-fledged war as such. So we have to say that how does it develop thereafter? We have seen all the flashpoints, but we have one by one said that immediate activity is not possible. So one can very easily say, because of the Chinese action, that World War III is to be fought, if at all it will be, on economic or financial fronts rather than a full-fledged war. And the signs of it are visible. Let's see, we are in 2020, and in 2020 at least the prospects of confrontation are very, very, very low. Because the whole world now is waiting for US election results. Why? Because it will determine the direction of US policy, and let me tell you, US holds an upper hand in world policies. Let us be aware that every crisis proceeds by its own logic. So, Pak, India, China, Israel might feel compelled by events to act in their national advantage. And in that case only there is a likelihood of a trigger being available. But however, we have already seen all these countries are reeling under heavy economical losses due to the pandemic, and another problem in kind of a war they don't want. So even the crisis can be seen within these countries, it will not be escalated, that is for sure. Now, while we are focusing on US election, one thing we should understand is that we should not and we should never ever forget friction between nations that would provide a spark for a war. So, concentrating fully on US election only and then seeing what will happen will be a wrong step ahead. Actually, now we will see something on economical front. And when you will look at that, you will find in reality World War III must have already commenced. And who is the main player? Of course, China. China, prior to COVID-19 itself, had started taking control of the economy by launching a thorough financial might of its to topple the US and the European Union economically. COVID-19 outbreak further added to the problem and created a lot of chaos in the whole world. Therefore, China used this opportunity also for furtherance of its economical development. Now, making full use of such situations is China's main plus point, we can say. So we can say that China is making full use of this mayhem across the world as it is implementing its strategy of World War III without fighting. No weapons are going to be used, mind you. No missiles, no atom bomb. A small virus which weighs million times lesser than an atom bomb is going to be used by China. So this World War III is going to be very, very different from World War II. And we should know that what they are going to use is a virus. China is going to use a three-step approach for this World War III, which will be fought only by virus, as I told you earlier. Number one, cheat the world in business and expand yourself economically, financially all over the world. Thereafter, number two will be spread chaos across the world. And the COVID-19 has helped to do this for them. And third, and the final step, which has to be understood and need to be defeated, is they plan to oppress and then exploit the world with their economic might post the pandemic. Two stages, as we have seen, have already started, and we are now waiting for the third. So instead of just waiting for the third, we should get ready to fight the third, and that we can do together with all our other supporters who are against Chinese economical policies. So it is very, very clear that China will prefer economic war. It is not going to prefer any war with arms, ammunitions, and you can say standard kind of a war, because they are not ready for it. But second important thing when we think of East Ladakh is not only the reluctance of China not to fight, but India's newfound confidence and the approach they have now adopted to post Galwan and post taking over the major features south of Pangang Tso. They have indicated very clearly that they are not going to back out from this region, that is East Ladakh. So before winter set in, we will be able to witness the results of the extended standoff which has been taking place in East Ladakh. And the likelihood is there will not be any war, because China fully believes only to cripple the world economically. Pandemic, the economy is worsening. Nobody, let me assure you, nobody from the flashpoints, the countries where the flashpoints are I have mentioned, will like to wage a war now, because everybody is keen to recover themselves from this pandemic and the economic slowdown. So a war is not likely in 2020 for sure, but if we need to avoid it in further, these flashpoints need to be carefully studied and tackled. So this triggers which we talked about today, how much they are going to matter, one will have to think about. So the overall picture, when you see what comes out, is it appears that China will not have much supporters, and the world will support the nations against whom China wages a war, and that likelihood is with India. So the newfound friends, I can call them, can be of great use to India, and World War III appears not immediate likelihood. Let's hope also that it doesn't happen this way, because after pandemic the economy slow down. If there is a war, then that is going to create further problems for the mankind, entire mankind. So instead of looking at this World War III as being an actual fight, we should look at an angle from economic front, and that will give us the correct picture. So I covered all the trigger points, and finally what I have said is the likelihood of World War III is less, definitely, at least in 2020. If you have liked my video, then I request you to subscribe, give comments and send likes also. Jai Hind.